Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Play Dicely After Party. We are going to jump into discussing episode 49, Room for Growth. So this was kind of an interesting one for us because it was our first proper period of downtime, which for me, I don't think I've had too much experience with like a full downtime experience like this. So I don't know if that's everyone else has like done it, but I thought it was very novel. Kind of think about like what I do for a month.
I have to agree. Every time I've had downtime in the past, there's been an attempt on my life of some kind, and it's like, well, I need to downtime. So, yeah, I gotta say this is also a first for me.
Yeah, same. I think every campaign I've played in before has very much been like a story beat to story beat to story beat to story beat. So it was like, even just like being asked like, hey, what are you going to do? I was like, what am I going to do? What is my character outside of this goal that they've set themselves onto?
Because there are like actual rules for like doing stuff with downtime, right? And clearly I didn't read them in preparation for this, but that exists.
I did.
Yeah, I read them, but I didn't even like. It was brand new to me that even existed at all. I was like, oh, they have like the whole thing about it.
I read them. I've read them before because for my campaign, I was like, all the optional rules are on the table. So I was like, I need to know what all these things are. But yeah, like even like it never had come up, so I haven't looked at them until now. And I was looking at the things. I was like, many of these have a chance of going to jail or something. And I was just like, I don't know if that's the life I'm living. Or it's like, you know, living an extravagant life for a week and meeting fancy people. I was like, I don't know if that's me either.
Well, I mean, and I sent you guys the links to like the downtime rules in the DMG as well as the Xanathar's guide. And it's not like, you know, these are rules that you have to stick to memory, but it's just like, here's some inspiration for you guys in case you don't know what you want to do during this time. And it's also not like I'm following these rules exactly to a T as well. Like you said, for most of those tables, like something happens. I don't think I'm going to roll on any of those tables unless I'm like, wouldn't it be interesting if something happened with this? Because it makes the story interesting instead of relying on random tables. Otherwise, you know, like Ryan was saying, you know, it's like, this is the first time I've had downtime where I haven't been tried to be killed. It's like, I think it is important for the characters to, you know, have a rest, to reflect, and, you know, to feel somewhat secure.
This is a side note joke, but that's how I feel about downtime in my real life, is that like, because whenever I try to relax, my anxiety spikes as if I'm being hunted for sport, but I'm just like sitting on my couch. So that just made me laugh. But yeah, I think like having this as an option is like a really cool way of continuing kind of like our character growth and like role play within that, of being like, yeah, like what else do I have got going on? Because it can't just be like this one big thing all the time constantly. Like it's not really like realistic in that sense. So it's kind of cool to be like in like the day-to-day things, like what does that look like? So it was
What's
really fun.
that? You have room to grow?
No. Oh my god. What the hell? Someone should be writing these things that you say down, because they are good.
I think what was very exciting about this episode for me was you guys picking your rooms in the keep that I drew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also crazy how we all ended up in our original pairing somehow.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was so weird.
Yeah, that's so cute.
Especially because like I think at the end of the Dragon Age stream, like we opened that map up and kind of looked at it, and the room that Abe ended up taking was kind of like what I had thought about, but I didn't really care because I'm like, I mean, I don't really sleep that much, like it doesn't matter. So it was kind of just cool how it like ended up working out. I'm like, wow.
I just wanted access to that wine. Need a,
I know, right?
Oh, I woke
just
up
go
in the
in wine
middle of the
hands.
night. Time for some wine.
Oh, that's the only thing that's gonna put me back to sleep.
Yeah, it's like, wow, we have such great vintages in here, and then like we go in like a week later and they're all gone. Like, some of these were like
Sorry,
hundreds
yeah.
of years old. It's like, what
It's like
happened?
all of like the leaves in my hair and stuff have just become kind of purpley.
Just grapes
my
growing
God.
out of your hair now.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry if this is weird, but if you could grow grapes, we could make like a Ria vintage, and I'm sure that like wine connoisseurs would be like really into that because it's like so unique.
Oh.
The grapes
Hope we
harvested
know a
from
couple.
dryads. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like there's like a Belgium monastery or something that makes like traditional beer, and like there's like a years long wait list because they only make like a few jugs a year of it. So
Yeah.
it could be like that.
Now I'm just
Just
thinking of
thought.
different varieties of dryad that grow like olives and oranges,
Olive-
tiny
Ooh.
clementines.
Oh, I like
My
this.
God.
Oh, it's canon.
Sounds
Dibs.
delicious.
Take that,
Dibs.
fantasy community.
Wow. I'm
Um,
interested. It sounds delicious.
But also, remember the
Um,
one time when Logan wasn't here and I roleplayed Azari as a drunk? I think it's canon now, apparently, according to Logan.
Oh yeah.
Accidentally.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think I've ever had more than like a drink in any session I've been here.
Yeah. And now you're next to the wine cellar.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Nice.
it's never too late to start drinking
Yeah, so the shit-
excessively.
it's after dying, it's like, oh shit.
That's true. Yeah. Who are we to fault what
No.
vices people need?
Now, who died in that giant fight? All of them must be alcoholics too.
I mean, it was literally the rest of us except for Ryan. So, well, Abe could. He just fucking won't put that goddamn sensor on. So,
Come on, dude.
I wonder what he's waiting for. Like, I'm excited to see
Well,
when that
I feel
moment.
like he was gonna put it on in this last session, but he unfortunately couldn't make it. Because I feel like we would have done like a big feast for him. You know.
yeah.
Well, we're not done downtime yet.
Yeah,
That's true.
Still time.
You sure aren't.
Spoilers.
Got lots to do. Yeah. That just distracted me so bad thinking about the sensor. Anyways, so I feel like I thought honestly we were gonna have a lot more like interpersonal conversations during this, and I think we really only had like kind of the first one between me and Drac, and for the most part, everyone just kind of like broke off and did their own thing. So that was kind of interesting. That did not go. Maybe next episode that'll be the direction.
Actually, I do have a conversation I need to have at the party, and I've been trying to do it for sessions, and it just keeps not happening. And it's like someday it'll happen.
Yeah.
Do it
honestly.
next
Someday I'll
session.
bring this
Just
up.
Yeah.
Pull up all aside right at the start.
Yeah.
All
do
right,
it.
team, huddle. I think I
Oh.
was gonna
Yeah.
do that with this one, but then I don't know. It just didn't seem right, so I didn't.
Yeah.
Well, with
Everyone
Adam
else
not being
hard,
talked. I
there.
was like, let's do stuff. That's true.
Yeah. And there's just like a lot like of different things happening. I do agree with Kumbai though, like having like a giant feast when you haven't eaten ever
True.
might be like a little much. Start you off with
That's a good
some
point.
dry crackers or something.
Granola or something.
Yeah.
Gotta like start him off with baby food and work his way up. Like
no.
Order-
and
Mm,
Order some of that beetle steak.
then-
Yum.
Soup.
But anyways, yeah. So the first conversation was just between me and Drac about kind of like our religious stuff that we've got going on. But I thought that was nice to have that kind of connection because, like, obviously a lot has changed in Drac's maybe perception of his religion and everything
Yeah,
else.
for sure.
Yeah.
And then
That's
you
kinda
just
cool,
not
so-
being able to like present it to the world.
Yeah.
Like that's a thing for sure.
Yeah. Again, it was one of those things that, like, if it had happened at any other time, well, it couldn't have because they were frozen, but like it would have been way more damaging. But the fact that like we're on better footing
Yeah.
now, but it's still kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not great. But
It's just hard. Like, anyway, it's fine. But yeah, so we have freaking staff now, so we got to meet those. We didn't actually go and talk to the centaur, which confuses me. I thought that would have been the first thing that we did, Dallis.
I think it's
Yeah,
Dallas
Dallis.
that's way more interested in Centaur than Elowyn, but I should have gone just for me.
Yeah. But yeah, so then we hire on Monty as the stable master, Tyrone as our magical assistant. Is that kind of where he ended up?
Yeah. Yep.
And then we didn't actually say it out loud, but I feel like we've officially hired on Kumbalai as our head of gardening, right?
Yes, I do believe that is correct.
Oh no, I missed that in the recap.
That was the most important part.
Yeah. Nothing else.
Denny, can
important
you add a
happened in this
little edit in
episode.
for me? Can you just pop in?
Yeah, I haven't started the edit yet, so I'll do it.
Yes.
You're welcome,
No, what
Dallas
you
and
need to do is
Kumbalai.
Just catch a frame of like Dallas like mid speaking, pause it there, and just voice over really badly and Kumbalai, and then continue like normal.
Can you superimpose your lips over Dallas's face?
Oh, that'd be great.
God, I did
How
that
complicated
once.
can we make this?
I did that once with a ferret on my old channel, and I don't remember how I did it.
What?
What? Don't worry about it. Maybe I'll
Okay.
send a clip at some point.
Okay. Look, Kumbalai's got plans.
Ooh, poisonous
Ooh.
plants.
Oh my god.
I could
That's
use
so
those.
That's so exciting.
Feels like
I
our
love it.
garden's a little dangerous.
I have a
That could be
poisoner's
such a
kit.
I think
A
you might need a few
fun-
gardens.
I think they're all grown in the exact same plot, and it's just a roulette.
Fight for supremacy.
Perfect. That could be such a fun thing. Like, obviously, we have like the channel points for making NPC, but it could be like another tier or something of like
Become an
becoming like
NPC.
one of our staff members at our keep.
Yeah.
It's like having like Twitch integration in a video game, and like everyone's usernames pop up for characters.
Yeah.
That's so
Um,
cute.
Cool. So, I think the way I might do the rest of this is just like maybe everyone like kind of goes over like their own like downtime stuff that they hit, because it's all like pretty basic. Because like I feel like the next thing that we did is just like we went crazy with selling things. So everyone can like break down kind of like what their, I guess, like main goals for the downtime were and like what they hit kind of. Because yeah, like I brought the base to Eckhart and decided to get that bracelet made out of it, and then ultimately I'll sell the rest to him. Then I bought a freaking violin.
Mm-hmm.
Which Teni, when we first talked about it, you said it was like 30 gold, and then if I wanted to spend 50 gold, it would have some sort of weird enchantment to it. And then I think I just paid 45 gold for a basic violin.
Maybe that's like the raw price, but this guy has to mark it up for his shop and make a big
And
profit.
I like didn't do anything about it. I was like, okay.
It's
So
capitalism.
yeah.
I can't hold everything I've said in my head.
That's fine.
Besides, you didn't
Whatever.
spend 50.
It's true. But you told me 50 would get me like it points me to north or something. So
Well,
whatever.
Could
I
be
don't care.
handy.
you didn't spend 50. Sorry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hard.
Anything
No, that was
from
totally on me. I
zero-
totally forgot about this
anything
conversation.
between 0 and 49.99. No magic.
You can't get it. No.
Oh my
You can
God.
always go in and trade it in.
No, I don't actually care that much. I don't think Nell would have known to like look for that. She
Great.
probably was just like, a violin? Like, what are you asking me? They're all the same, aren't they?
And I'm like,
Really?
yes. Ugh.
Cool. All right, everyone else. What did you sell? What were you looking to do? I don't, this is like kind of our first main day trip to Robar.
Just want to go around the circle, I guess.
Yeah.
Zoop. Go Dallas.
Wait, are we just talking about the first day? I don't know how to talk about this.
Oh, true.
It's kind of like,
It's
I
Just,
think,
just do like our goals, what we did,
Yeah.
how we did them.
yeah, downtime
I-
goals.
Okay.
And obviously, anything that you haven't hit yet, you can save, to not give it away, but kind of like
Yeah, we're talking
What-
like
what you
encapsulate
did.
your whole episode.
Okay.
yeah.
I got it.
You're good
Except
at
for
this.
the very end, obviously, we'll save that
We'll have to talk about that later. Yeah. Weird. That's a little bit more of a thing.
for some reason.
No, I had one real goal, and that was to be able to explain why I'm gonna take the wish spell the second I hit level 17, and I would like to have some sort of story reason for why that might happen, you know. So we start now. I just wanted to start. I mean, we were talking about this in the last episode where I think Elowyn is finally starting to be like, all right. I have a lot of power, actually, and maybe I can make things happen for myself. Maybe we don't rely on gods and genies and sphinxes anymore. Maybe you just do this yourself. And so that was a lot of what I was trying to just at least start touching on here to get the ball rolling towards becoming a much more powerful spellcaster in the future. I was very happy with the weird bookstore you came up with, Teni, because I feel like every time we talked, I was like, I just want to go to the weirdest, creepiest occult bookstore and find all the weird shit that no one talks about. Which also I think worked well because you sent us out an extended spell list, book of spells that you and I went through, and I picked out some spells from there to add to my arsenal. So I feel like that also helps explain why these spells that don't normally exist in the world, Elowyn is suddenly going to be able to start casting, and maybe it's because I found a bunch of weird fucking books in this bookstore.
I love that scene. The proprietor was so
fun.
Yeah, so cool. And I was lucky you just get to bring Tyrone around now.
I
So good.
I didn't really have a plan for how to use a magic assistant, but if Tyrone wants to just come around with me and help me carry books, actually very helpful.
Yeah. And you've got a buddy for the buddy system, so it works out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that truly did work out.
Yeah, it worked very well. I had not even considered. You and I even talked about that, where you were like, oh, you could hire someone to help scribe things, but it turned out that I really didn't need the help with that tireless spell and the time we had. I really didn't need any extra hands, but it was fun to have him around.
Well, I mean, you can always cast it on other people.
Tireless?
Yeah,
I know, I offered to cast it on Nell and she didn't want it.
that's true.
Yeah,
That is an
I
offer
actually
that
need you to
happened.
tell me what that spell.
It allows you
does.
to work at 3x your normal rate of working, and you don't eat, sleep, or drink for 24 hours. You just take
Cool.
a level of exhaustion at the end of that 24 hours. But
The 3
You do-
times thing would maybe be helpful, but I already only sleep for trance for 4 hours, so my day is already longer than the average person's. So
yeah,
And I've already,
it turned out to not super matter. I think I got confused about the times that it took to scribe spell scrolls and put them into books and stuff. And at one point I was like, oh, we're going to need this. But really, I didn't.
I mean,
Most of these things only took about a day to do.
yeah, I mean, if you want to describe something bigger, it'd be helpful. I mean, there's other applications for it too,
Yes. When
You know,
I learned
casting it
Wish, you
on
have
your
to turn it into a
steeds.
spell scroll. Oh. Fascinating.
interesting that.
but I guess you'd
Oh.
you'd need to be able to guarantee a place to rest afterwards. Interesting. Okay. Something to keep in mind in the future. Yeah, I guess that's all. Your conversation with Balloon as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean that was something that I pitched to Teni as well. I was like, if we're in this city, I would like to go. Feels like I should, just try to
Yeah.
mend something of that relationship. That was something I was fully ready to hand wave because I knew I wanted to have a conversation with Charity later, and I was like, that's when I would actually like to roleplay. But I was totally ready to hand wave a conversation with Balloon. I really didn't know what to say to him. I just, again, for its story, it was like, it just feels like we should chat. But I was not ready to actually have a conversation. I think clearly because I had nothing to say to him when we did it.
I mean, I feel like that just kind of speaks to the awkwardness of trying to create that relationship is so hard when it's not like pre-existing, you know, being like, we are family, but like,
I don't know
the
anything about you.
yeah, the familiarity isn't there. So I think it is kind of truthful in that regard. Like, it will be awkward until it's not. So
Yeah. So
that's cool.
we're gonna have some nice lunch dates.
Yeah, I want you to meet his partner because
Yes.
I'm like, oh, so you're not just batching it. What's up with that? So before I just seemed like he was really content with his like furniture or whatever it was that he had going on. So I'm like, oh,
yeah.
is this a new relationship or did you just not tell us about it earlier? So
Denny said something along the lines of like, oh, like things were weird and now they're better. I don't know. I didn't pry. We'll see. I just, I'm not sure Elowyn wants to hear too much about it, to be honest. But it's fine. It's fine. We're gonna have lunch. I'll meet that partner.
You're gonna love it.
I'll be cool. I'm gonna smile. I'm just gonna be really fine.
Oh my god.
It's gotta be the cool auntie.
Oh, I'm cool.
Maliciously
Don't worry
cool.
about that.
Cool as a cucumber.
Ripping
The
the
coolest.
arms of my
The thing
chair.
is, like,
Yeah.
I think like you would be considered cool, but if you come in with that energy, you'd just be like, oh,
Oh.
okay, all right.
Yeah.
Cool.
And you also found
Right.
out that your sister's apparently coming to town as well.
Yeah, neat information. That very fascinating. cool
What would you have
information.
done if it would been like she's coming to town like during the month that we're here?
I don't know. We would have had to push that to next session because I don't know how I would have handled it.
It's fair.
Mhm.
Oh, I mean, I probably
What-
should talk to her.
What if it'd be so funny if she like moves up the day of her visit and then like you're like walking to the keep and she's like exiting the portal or something, you just like run into each other. Wouldn't that be fun,
Okay.
Dallis?
It would be super fun. I'll just draw a quick teleportation circle and get out of here.
She's just like trying to talk to you for the 10 minutes it takes you to draw this whole circle.
No, it's fine.
I'm not here.
Oh my
I need
God.
to prepare for this conversation.
At that point, you might as well just like run away on foot. Really,
Yeah.
it's gonna be about the
That's true.
same.
I think I can cast invisibility.
Tiredless. Everyone.
Sprint away.
You know?
Oh my
Probably.
God.
That's pretty much
Seems
what
like
I
a
did when we
plan.
ran into Valoon, right? So,
Yeah, there you go.
So funny. Wow.
yeah, I guess I should start thinking about. Oh, I might
You
have to deal with
should.
that.
You should start thinking about it. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Next in the circle, Anthony.
It's me. Okay, so I had buying stuff on my list, obviously, because we need diamonds and healing things so that we don't die again. Or if we do die, we could do something about it. We have all these monster parts in the hole of nastiness that need to be dealt with, so I tried to get them dealt with. No one wanted to do anything with the antennae, which is disappointing, but it's fine. So that's good. But hey, making a dope ass piece of plate armor, I think that's going to be really cool how that turns out. And I don't know if I'm going to sell it or give it to someone else. We'll see. Probably going to sell it. Yeah, definitely Elowyn. We'll put some like stilts in there so you can like walk in it.
Cute.
That'd be really cool, actually.
Can't cast any spells because I'm not proficient, but
Yeah.
that'll be fine.
Yeah, it's
You've-
fine.
Who needs them?
You've got some time to accumulate the necessary feats.
Yeah, there you
Oh,
go.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what the specs are of the armor? Was that?
I have no idea.
We'll find out when it's built, I guess.
Probably.
Cool.
Then, yeah, fighting at the Prolium was something that I thought would just be like cool and like thematic for Drac to do, because gives him chance to train in like a live situation while also practicing with his new toy, the Meteor Hammer. and gaining a little bit of money in the process. Pennies compared to what we're making off of these sellings, but you know, still, it's something.
Remember when it was a
but yeah.
lot?
Yeah. The good old days. And then, yeah, like the main thing would be contacting Boz to set up this meeting, which I guess I should have expected that it would take place in Fort Hale, but I thought there was a chance, you know, he would come to me, but alas. So, nervous about that. That's going to be an interesting conversation.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that we have this like little chunk that's going to be like the whole downtime thing has been a little bit like loose with time a little bit. But yeah, this is going to be something that's like, kind of like in the past of like your Abe's adventure to the I forgot what it's called. You just said it and I immediately
Fort Hale.
Fort Hale, yeah.
Yeah.
And Adam seemed really stoked that I signed him up for that. So.
Oh.
I'm like, it just makes sense. Like he said he wasn't doing
think so.
anything else. And you need a buddy. And then I get dropped off in Fallon Bridge, so.
And Nivera's there somehow.
What?
Nivera's there somehow.
She wasn't in Fallon Bridge. I went to Fallon Bridge to get things.
I think he's joking.
Oh, okay.
You can't joke about Nivara. She's very serious.
Yeah, so
Hi.
serious.
It's not a joking matter. Okay.
Unless
That's
she
my
wants to be,
wife.
then-
Oh my god. Maybe one day. Was that everything?
I mean, that's all the things that I've done / did / will do, so.
Can you refresh my mind of like where things are at with Boz right now? Because I feel like I don't fully remember. Like you've reached out to him a couple of times, but
Yeah.
like, I don't.
There's a couple times where he didn't respond, and then the last time he did is when we were in the
ruins,
I
right?
believe. Yeah, he responded, and he seemed to be like apologetic about how things ended off when we last saw each other in person. So that's kind of been sparking Drax wanting to meet with him again in person and kind of just hash things out. So hopefully convince him to actually talk about this prophecy that he seems to not want to talk about, even though I know for a fact that he was given one.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. Like, you have all of this brand new knowledge to him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be very curious to see how he takes that and whether or not it'll shed some light on like what his beliefs are right now, because that's been a subject I've been a little bit curious about of like something's happened here that doesn't seem quite right. So
Especially if you listen to the prophecy, it says, one brother will restore the balance, the other will be his rival. Come on,
Yeah.
man. You don't have to. We can fight it, make our own fate. But we will see.
it's interesting now too, like if he knew that entire prophecy, like was that in his mind at all, like when you guys like met up in Fallon Bridge initially, of being like, oh, because he would have thought it was like the other way around,
Yeah.
right, that you were gonna come against him. So like was he kind of like expecting you to be against him?
Yeah.
Interesting. Love it.
It'd be so fun.
Yeah, well, something to look forward to. All right, Logan.
I feel like I really didn't have much for this downtime. Like even going to Denny at the start, I was like, I don't know. And it was only a few days before that I was kind of like, okay, these are like the two things, like if there's a chance of getting, which was like maybe a better focus, maybe better armor. And I did not expect to get both. And I did not expect them to have more properties than like a +1 or something, or +2 if I was able. The armor I'm really excited for, the not getting critted on. That's nice.
Yeah, what are the specs? Because I feel like
The armor.
That was something I just like did not hear during.
Yeah,
the session.
the armor's just a +1 version of my armor, but because of the adamantium used to make it, adamantium has like different properties if used for weapons or armor. And for armor, it prevents you from getting critted on.
That's so good.
And as someone who has gone down many times, I'm going to appreciate that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then my focus, I was like, oh, like, I don't know what any of these things will do for that. But I chose the living wood just because, like, even though in our world there is this, like, yeah, druids can wear, like, things with metal, like, it's fine. I did think thematically my focus is currently a branch. It, like, made sense to keep it within the, like, natural world fully. So I was like, yeah, once that was an option, I was like, yep, that's what it'll be, you know, augmented with. And that one lets me cast Goodberry once a day.
Ooh.
So when Gideon's
exciting.
unable to cook for us and we're out of rations, I've got berries.
How many berries does Goodberry make? Is it 10? Or is it just 1?
I believe
It's multiple.
Yeah, I think it's 10. Somewhere around there.
Somewhere between 6 and 10.
Yeah.
6 is definitely like the lowest, but I think 10 sounds pretty accurate. So the horses can have some too.
Yay. That's good.
Um,
And then we have, you know, if we're completely out of potions and everything else, we can just pop a good berry in someone's mouth.
And then, yeah, apart from that, I think like the only thing, it was like, you know, a lot of like the like trying to see what we can get for items, like talking with the learned circle and stuff, bringing Gideon around because I'm like, I know the knowledge of things, but I cannot sell anything. I knew I would like make those potions because I was like, oh, I'm trained in the alchemist's kit. And then something I'd been wanting to do since like the first time we were in Brawl Bar and met Vermin was like, oh, actually make good on that promise to teach him a bit about druids. And then the first time we like left shortly after, and it just didn't feel like, by the time I remembered, or actually I wasn't there for the session where we actually left.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that was the airship day and I wasn't there. But I also probably would have forgotten at that point. And then like I think the first day we were back before like the downtime stuff, I also had like at the beginning I think of that session I thought, oh, I should like chat with Vermin, and then forgot. And so that was like, I was like, okay, I should at least like get this, like, you know, I didn't think it would be a big role play thing, but like I was like hand wave this moment of like, I do this thing I promised. I have nothing
Makes
really to
sense to me.
say to Vermin, but like I was like, I made
Yeah.
good on my deal.
It makes sense to me too that like it happened now, because I think like originally there was a bit of reluctance of like not necessarily knowing if like if you could trust Vermin with that information. So I think like
When he asked about the armor the first time we met him, I didn't trust him right away. I was like, this is weird that like you know a bit. And then as he explained, I did like right away. I was like, okay, I'm like willing to like, I don't know much, but I can teach you what I know. I do think thematically it's like more impactful now of like, oh, I'm willing to teach this thing as someone who like now is confident that yes, I am a druid. I just had this like revelation. So I'm glad it happened now, but that was it for me. I don't think I did anything else of note during the downtime.
it was good like to get the iron flask kind of figured out with the Arcanet as well,
Yeah,
because I
and
think
it
that'll
was-
be useful.
And it was good like that I had Gideon there for that, because like I was like, I know it's worth, but I'm not good at talking to people.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because like it was 15,000 and then like they're giving us extra goodies or something.
Yeah, like we were like, we know it's worth 50,000, so we'll take the 15, but we kind of want the rest in like favors or items as we go forwards, or like, you know, we need magical supplies they can help. So like that's why like I was like, oh, can you get me adamantium? So like 2,000 of that missing other amount was like for that.
Cool.
And if anybody's
I'll have to
asking
see
for adamantium, you're likely not going to get any more out of them because that is a hella rare material.
Yep.
I was gonna say, didn't we have something else that was made out of it? But no, I had the mithril armor that I gave back to Valoon that now is like in a Wilder museum or something.
Yeah,
What did he say?
Valoon told Elowyn that it had been like returned and kind of put on display as a mark of the history of Lodothrum's military.
Fair enough, I guess. I mean, it did belong to them, so it's fine. Just- whatever. Cool. All right, Ryan.
Whoa. So I so I mentioned earlier, got Monty hired and on board as our stable master, which I'm stoked about. Can keep the boys safe and employed and happy. It'd be great.
I mean, if I can point that out for a second too, like it's so. I feel like wasn't it the last time we were in Robar that you still had like that chest that you were trying to like fill with gold specifically for Monty.
Yep.
So it's kind of cool. Like this time around, it's like he's here with you, and like now he's working for us, and he's like safe and secure. Like how cool is that?
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, very happy about that. I have updated my bonds here and there, and that was one of them. So that is officially an updated bond. Thing number 2, gun. So we Denny and I had a lengthy discussion about this weapon, and it was very fun, very cool. I'm very eager to show it off. It is incredibly badass. We were coming up with what this weapon could possibly be. I was like, here's an idea, but I'm going to try and keep it somewhat balanced. And Denny was like, Ryan, shut up. Shut up, Ryan. I was like, whoa, okay. Calm down. And he was like,
that sounds like Denny. Yeah, he gets, when he's not being like recorded for something, he gets so yelly. Like
Yeah.
it's just,
it's honestly
it's a lot.
It's wild.
Honestly, when I'm being recorded, I get yelly. Friggin' don't even get me started about the elemental crystals again.
I was about to say the crystal rant. Yeah, so picture the crystal rant, but like I'm trying to keep Denny's game balanced, and he's telling me to go pound sand. So it's like wonderful. And then last thing, therapy for the boy. So downtime is something that, again, I've not got to do much in the past. And as somebody who has run a lot of Cthulhu games and such, and designed Gideon, like the very seed that began Gideon's design as a character was like, I want to play a character in Cthulhu. And then this campaign came out of nowhere, and I was like, I want to make a Cthulhu character in D&D. So I did. And then yeah, one of the things in the Cthulhu system is like you should consider your character's mental well-being, and if there is a psychotherapy thing going on in a city, you can do that in between campaigns if you have like a really long-running campaign going on. And I was like, that's really neat. So I designed my broken-ass man, and I was like, well, I can give this man some therapy. And again, like the fact that we have downtime is like, okay, like, yeah, Gideon's gonna address his shit that's like been sort of carried with him this whole time. And the group, like, the reason why he feels comfortable doing that is because the group has sort of like renewed his sort of passion about life. So he wants to like pursue life instead of just survive. He wants to live. So he's got to get his shit figured out. But yeah, if after this little downtime period here, just be ready. Gideon's probably going to be starting conversations with you all and asking you what you think about life.
My God.
I'm excited to have a real conversation with Gideon about life.
Me too.
Yeah, this is the healing arc.
Aw. Also, fun fact: the halfling therapist was actually, because Ryan foolishly spent his points as a spectator of the stream to name an NPC. Dr. Norwin Voss was his character pitch for a name.
Yeah. And I was like, then you do whatever you want with this. And they didn't show up for a bit, and I was like, I got something for you. I'm gonna get it there.
I was like, what a perfect time to use this name.
I love that. I think it's such a cool concept too, to like, because if you think about it, like, I don't know if that's really touched on all that often in like D&D stuff, but I'm like,
It's
yeah,
not. It's
we
really not.
should be.
We're straight up murdering people.
Well, yeah, and
Yeah.
actually, and like I remember reading a post once that was specifically like how it'd be interesting to show more kind of like in a world where like magical healing exists, like what does that do to the fact like you know, in that previous fight, like a bunch of us died, but then like brought back up and then like kept going, and like that is kind of thing. It's like, oh, you could be like 1 hit point left and then heal up and you're like, okay, but it's like that still leaves an impact that you're like constantly doing this, even if like this magical healing does exist. So I think it's a
Yeah.
cool thing to explore. So
For me, it's like I always approach fantasy, and like whether it be me and my world building or with my character development, like I always love figuring out the mundane things, just for some reason. Like I think that's why Game of Thrones fascinated me, because there's so much just mundane political bureaucracy business crap, and like I love that shit for some reason. So like, yeah, when it came to making characters for fantasy games, I'm always like, what is this like? I like playing normal ass dudes, but I also when I do play a character that's much more like high fantasy, like if I were to play a wizard or something, I would give them something super mundane to just be as well. Just because I that's something that I feel I always have to have with my characters, is some sort of very like just not fantasy at all trait about them, because I feel like that just grounds them more. I don't know, that's just me at least, but I've always liked that kind of shit. Just finding the like, I love fantasy, but I like finding the yeah, just the regular stuff within the fantasy to make the fantasy more cool. I don't know.
yeah, I like that, especially like because we're in such like a role play heavy campaign, like that just like adds like so many like extra like facets to your character. So I like it.
Thanks.
Cool. Sun is setting right into my eyeball.
Hey, Denny, what'd you do?
Yeah, what was your downtime?
I populated the keep with NPCs.
Assassins.
Are we not going to talk about the fact that I gave you guys a Bronto buddy? How freaking ungrateful.
You gave a
yeah.
chef whose ass I need to kick.
Yeah, that too.
I've already forgotten what you're referring to.
Bronto Thex, your head of security.
Yeah.
Gila Monster Lizard Man.
I was like, you didn't give us a pet, I don't think.
No, I gave you a worker.
Yes.
Much
Oh, I
more
appreciate
efficient than a
it.
pet.
Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah.
So good.
How do
The rest
you
of-
like Denny like manage? I mean, I assume you had like conversations with all of us. How do you like, I don't know, manage, make sure that we're all doing like at least like similarly balanced things in a downtime period like this?
It's mostly on vibe. You know, I'm just like, does this feel appropriate? Have we lingered too long? We should probably move over to somebody else. Like at where I'm at currently, like kind of taking note of how these episodes and sessions have been going. I'm like, I can feel like we've been spending a lot of time with this character, so perhaps we'll be spending some time with this character, kind of beginning to highlight them next. And this is kind of a outside the meta, like the meta of the meta kind of thing, where we're going into the YouTube meta now, where when I'm designing the thumbnails, I'll throw the character on who I feel like was most prevalent in that session. So that's,
I've noticed that.
yeah, and I try,
Yeah.
if I notice that there's a few back-to-back where it's the same character, it's like, okay, I have to shake things up. I need to get another character in that spot. And so that's kind of the same thing with downtime, too. It's just more quicker within a single session. But then at the end, it's like, okay, well, who had the biggest change or the biggest revelation? In this case, it was Elowyn, because reasons that we'll probably be about to get into.
Yeah. I didn't go over my downtime stuff.
Do
Did you not?
But
I thought you were first.
I mentioned I bought a violin, and then I figured it would loop back around. because that's not all I did. Yeah, so the main thing I came to Teni with was like, I want to get a tool proficiency in violin, and it became the most fucking ridiculous thing in the world. For something truly, I don't know if I'm going to use it after this. I really don't. So, but hey, when has that ever stopped me?
But I think it's a marvelous pursuit.
Yeah, it was just like our call together was just like doing math of like, how can we get this so that it doesn't take more than a month? So yeah, 2 tutors, twice the effort from both of them. Like, it was just the stupidest thing. And if I was to think even for a second, like logically about it, it's like, I don't need to do this. Like, because both of us, like me and Ivera, both have pretty long lifespans. So there's no need for me to spend 2 weeks of extreme study. But I just feel like it's really in character to be like, I have to go all in. Otherwise, there's no point.
Well, and I feel like it's interesting too, because it's like, I feel like aside from your relationship with Zarya, we haven't really seen Nell be the student. And I think this is an exemplary opportunity for you literally to go and learn a new skill.
Yeah, it's kind of fun because it's like, I feel like we kind of talked about this a little bit, I think, when I initially had Gideon teach me the flute. But it's like, I think Nell's strength always has been that she's good at learning in moments where like she's not so good at like other stuff, like social stuff. And so it's like, oh, this is a new thing she's learning. And it's like, how does she do it all the way? I don't think she likes feeling like she doesn't know how to do something that she wants to be good at. So
that was something I noticed as well with how you play Nell. Is like Nell is fascinated by learning, and loves learning, but also hates learning. Like she loves knowing things, but hates learning to know things.
It's kind of like me in real life. It's just like, I would love to have knowledge of different things, but like when I actually sit down to do stuff, sometimes my brain does not join me there. So if I could just skip that part, it would be great. Yeah, it's been very fun. What else? I feel like a couple of the other downtime things haven't really like come into play so much yet. I feel like the like tool proficiency thing was kind of the main thing. So I'll save the rest for next time.
It's very clear you're setting up a date.
Yes. Oh, I've been like freaking planning because I didn't know if it was gonna end before. Like I didn't know where you're gonna end the episode. So during the episode, I was like writing down like, okay, like what would I plan? But now I've had like 2 weeks. So I'm like, trying to. I even like asked Dallis over the weekend for advice. It's like, give me like date ideas. So, but then everything you said, you were like, go like low key, and I'm like, no, it's not going to do that. That's so not what she's about. So it's great. It's really great advice in real life, not in this situation, unfortunately. So, but yeah, the one thing I will point out, this was just kind of like a fun thing that we started doing, like having this like relationship thing with Nyfera. But wow, are the dice there for me? Freaking Nat 20 to convince her to leave the city? Are you freaking kidding me? Anyway, that just made me really happy.
The dice want this to happen.
The dice really want this to happen.
That's what I'm saying. Oh my god. They tell their story and I'm happy for it, except when they do it the other way and I don't like it. So, Anyway, yeah. So I'm very excited I was thinking about Teni filling you in on what I had planned to see if there was anything I got to DM that you would say you can't do this. But instead, I'm going to not tell you because then it's more like I'm surprising you.
You know what? Fair enough.
Don't give him the opportunity to say no.
Yeah, you can't say no. This is a date for you. Why would you put the kibosh on me?
Wow.
So, all right. Enough of that. We get into the freaking ending of this episode, which was Dallis, you went to talk to Charity and it went exactly as you thought it would, right?
This could not have gone more differently than I expected it to, really. Really, of all things that I thought might happen in this conversation, that wasn't one of them. Strange.
Interesting.
No, I mean, I genuinely, again, was just like, I gotta learn how to cast Wish someday, and I think Charity's my best bet in getting there. So that was that whole thing. But I was kind of like, I thought this was like a good opportunity for me to be like, oh, like Elowyn is like, you know, standing her own ground, being like, oh, I can do this. Let me prove it to somebody. So someone validate me and tell me that I can. And she did. I did, even like before everything got crazy, I did appreciate the conversation with Charity, because I feel like Elowyn has had a lot of conversations with a lot of NPCs that have really knocked her down. We've had a lot of really hard conversations, so this felt like, and you know, this still wasn't perfect. You know, Charity did tell me she would murder me if I like went too crazy, but all things considered, a positive conversation in the Elowyn timeline. So I felt actually good about a conversation with an NPC for what feels like the first time.
I mean, even by her saying that, like, that's her really putting the cards on the table, and so you know where you stand at the very least.
Yeah.
Because, like, I feel like maybe a lot of the other things, like in some of these deals you made, like, you didn't know all the fine print, but she's being very upfront with you. So
I appreciate that, you know?
She also said she would be sad to kill you. Or at
That's
least
nice.
seemed very clearly like that would be the case.
Yeah. Well, you know, neither of us want her to kill me. But
And you know, if you
That's
think
nice.
about it, you actually got approval from 2 NPCs.
did I?
You son of a bitch.
Well, got it from Faye and from Charity.
Yeah.
Well,
Double
obviously
win.
that's the fucking reveal. So Charity is Bay Apple Butter, which I feel like we had maybe like a thought that could be a
Did we?
possibility. I feel like I did. Like everything that was happening with Abe, it seemed. No one else.
Maybe
Okay.
I'm just
I
stupid.
mean,
I mean, I
me
guess like
and
the fact
Ryan knew this, and I was just kind of waiting for the like, is she still, or have they figured a way to put people back into bodies? Because this
Maybe
came up
that was-
last campaign.
I didn't.
Maybe that
I
was it.
didn't-
Like you guys brought it up out of game or something. That was like potentially a
I
thing.
think
or
it might
something.
have it came up in that episode where we talked about the past lore, I think.
well, I mean, and also probably off of a stream at some point where Christy constantly brings up like, what did you guys know? And you guys might have brought this point up again.
Yeah.
only for us to forget again.
Yep.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, I don't know. I feel like I have a superpower in like forgetting things that I shouldn't know, and that you know,
Same.
it just means that it's a fun reveal every time I learn a thing again.
Yeah,
That's-
I'm
That's
so
the
happy
secret.
for you.
That's the secret to being a great DM. You just have players with memory loss.
There you go. I know part of me like wants to go back to that lore stream now, because now I'm confused. I don't, because both Elowyn and I don't know how this happened or why this happened, and part of me wants to go back to that lore stream and be like, did you talk about this? But the other half of me is like, that's fine, we'll figure it out. You know, Elowyn doesn't know, I don't know, it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
is
think
interesting.
we
Like
ever really
in character.
figured out the how or why last campaign. I think we made other choices than solving that mystery.
That is the
Cool.
thing that I keep freaking talking to you guys about you being like, we just never really pursued the whole doppelganger thread. And I'm like,
No, we didn't. There was a world to save. And a Logan to go to Stratford that expedited some things, I'm pretty sure.
That is true, in a way.
it's
we're
fine.
like,
That just means
"Ah."
that
We need to finish this campaign in 1 or 2 sessions. What do you really want to focus on?
Mm.
I mean that's fine. Like it's kind of cool that this is like a thing that we're dealing with now. Because like it is interesting to me, and like I do want to like kind of figure out everything that's going on with that, if that's something we're able to do. Like I don't know if that'll
I actually
think
think
I'm-
this is like one of my favorite things of like going from Denny's like last campaign into this one, is that there are mysteries that our characters, you know, heard of, or like things that were there that like we never dealt with, or that were like, you know, we had a and B choice of what path we were going to pursue, and now parts of those other things are like coming into this, and it's like, you know, hints of like, it's like that, like, oh, this is a real world, all these hints were there all along, and we're just like uncovering these cookie crumbs and stuff, breadcrumbs. That's the thing.
Hey,
No, no, no.
cookies,
Keep it.
You don't know.
Keep it cookies.
Crumbs in the
Please
book
keep it
forest.
cookies.
Yeah, that's such a cool thought. Also, it's again, it'll keep irritating me until we have like more knowledge in game, because it's like we barely know anything in game about doppelganger stuff, and I'm like,
Well, and I felt like this like raised questions for me now, because like we knew, because the three heroes that brought the people underground were Pascalis, Faye, and Kardrak, right? And we've known that Pascalis for a while is in Abe's body. But I guess I just assumed the other two, and I feel like in my brain I have assumed that Kardrak is dead and someone is like impersonating him. But now that I'm like, Faye is also still alive, does that mean the original Kardrak is also still out there somewhere? Because we don't think he's in his body, but is Kardrak around?
well, I guess.
Watch
'Cause the other
lore
two are.
stream.
Okay,
Well, that's interesting, because I was gonna say like, it's a difference
No.
of race in that sense, though, right? Because like, what was Faye's original
Half-elf.
background? Half elf? Because
No,
like, if
Faye was
Oh.
a gnome.
No,
Oh, confused.
Charity was a half elf,
Mm.
body
No.
swap. Oh,
Well,
Well, who's the
Charity-
half-elf in the tube then? I'm confused. This sucks. I hate everything. I'm gonna leave.
Hey!
what?
yeah.
This is
Wait, I'm
so
confused.
confusing. You're
Yeah,
gonna have to
let's see
redo half the recap just so you're aware, because
Oh,
I
no,
clearly
I
don't
do.
understand
Okay,
what's going on.
Logan's got it. Logan's got it straight
Yeah.
now.
I
Okay.
don't know exactly who it. I can't remember exactly who it was, but it was. So what we do know from the last one, which we had talked about, was like there was this moment where a bunch of people in a room. There was a lot of body swaps, and so it wasn't that Faye and Charity swap bodies, but it was like Faye went to Charity's body, Charity went to someone else's. Am I
Okay.
correct?
Yeah, that's accurate.
Can
Can I
you-
also can I share information that we know from the last thing that was brought up in the lore thing?
I trust you.
Please.
It's available
Please.
information,
Yeah.
so
It
Yeah,
is.
it's
So
fine.
while we don't know the exacts of Kardrak, and there is the thing of like on the battlefield, like this had come up, was like people say they've seen his ghost. Our last characters saw a spirit of Kardrak, and so like that is the thing, is like I have been sitting here like oh, it's, you know, I fought between fighting him there and then like player info. I'm like, I think that it's just fully someone else in his body. That's my thought. It's like another one of these doppel switches.
Mm. Or it's Manon.
Yeah,
So, okay,
Yeah,
that's okay.
like-
Can you
Manon
can you
makes
go
sense.
into? There was a room where a bunch of body swaps happened.
So Adam's
go back to
character,
that.
yeah, because it was like there was a room where a bunch of body swaps happened. There were what I think were doppelgangers, and something happened. It was like an expedition of people from Starshire, almost said Starcross, and they had gone to these ruins. Something happened. They were like attacked, and in that moment, a bunch of bodies got swapped. So Adam's character in the last campaign, while looked like himself and everything, and was like the brain that we, or the mind that we associated with the body we saw, that body was actually a doppelganger's body, just changed into him. In that battle, they had swapped, and there were all these other swaps that had
So
happened.
it's not just enough that there's swaps happening, but there's also doppelgangers of the people that are being swapped.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
That's
was
that's
great.
untenable.
So
Actually,
that's
Oh.
also like the other thing is that, like, you know, it might not even be that this is Kardrak's body at all. It could just be there are doppelgangers in the world of some sort. We've seen changelings too. Like in another sense, we know people can look like other people through use of like long-term magic.
Cool.
Um,
So there's no way to know anything ever. Gotcha.
Yes.
the
That's
mystery
so-
we have to
I will
solve.
also I will add to that the room was an alumbrite meditation chamber.
Okay, that's literally what I was about to ask. You said ruins, so
Yeah.
it was an alumbrite ruin. Because to go back to what Dallis was saying before about like how, because if it was Karjak's original body, it's like regardless of like who's occupying it, it shouldn't still be alive, right? So if it was like either a doppelganger or whatever that means, because I don't know if that has like a meaning
when
in D&D.
I did the like, because I'm the only one who saw like him physically there, and like with the check that I made, it's very. I think he's like at the extreme end. He's like a very long-lived dwarf at this point. It's a surprise he's alive. I don't know if it's like fully out of the realm, but it's like very much like a. This is strange that he's still alive.
Right.
Not like he's like 300 years past and we're like, okay, that's like.
Okay. Still though.
Yeah, it's a
like-
statistical variable that enough to question, but not enough to be
Yeah.
impossible.
It's like someone living to 130 or whatever the oldest person is. It's like, oh, I guess people have, but like, I sure as hell am not the way I live my life.
Well, and then so if this swap happened in a lumberite ruin, like what if Manon was there, and just got put into Karjak's body? Because like right now, like we're kind of thinking in game, like he's just disguising himself as Karjak for some reason. But what if he did get trapped? Man, this sucks.
my like, big tinfoil is that on our little hands. Isn't so much that he's trapped, but that this is like an intentional thing that like, because between like Charity being in that room and Adam's old character who was like someone, who was supposed to take up like the mantle of the brave, and Kardrak in there, that this was intentional. It was like a taking over of society that just didn't go fully right. Only a few people got taken over the way they thought, and now he's just trying it again.
Interesting. Ooh, okay. I actually need to know now. Is like there actually like a D&D thing for doppelgangers?
Yep.
Or is that?
Yep.
They're
Okay, because like
monsters.
that, I don't know anything about that. So like,
There's a few monsters that can look like other people.
but like the way that like they were out and about in the previous campaign.
I mean, that would be up to Teni. 'cause
Okay.
Like pure
Something to
monster
ponder.
manual doppelgangers aren't like stealing your body physically, but they would like.
Right.
I think like their lore is like they try to replace people. I'm not fully sure. They're not a thing I've used as a DM.
Yeah, I believe they've also got like psychic abilities where they could like read surface thoughts, so they can gain intel that way as they're kind of like spying on you to like learn your routine and whatnot, so they can
that's so
better fulfill their replacement of you.
They are very neat.
I need to put doppelgangers in my next
Don't.
game.
Absolutely.
Like that?
run doppelgangers.
I really don't like that.
Gotta-
Awful.
Gotta gaslight your whole table though. That's
Sure.
hard.
I've seen people who have like done the like talks of like replacing a character with the doppelganger like mid-campaign, but they don't know until something comes up. And being like,
Ooh.
oh, actually, here's
Well, I mean,
your
kinda did that.
traitorous. Mhm.
Yeah. True.
I think
Wow.
it's a dangerous game to play that because like the player really has to be on board. Like you can't. I don't feel like you should do that without their knowledge or their consent on that. But in the case of Adam, I was like, I think he'll be okay with this because I'm not taking away agency from him.
Yeah.
Like he's still the character he's always been. It's just there's new meaning now.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay. The one thing I had written for this was like under the tinfoil hat corner. It was kind of like an answer to a previous question I had ages ago, which was like when we were talking, I think, about all of the patients and Elia Hume stuff was just like the concept of like how sending works.
Oh yeah.
Because I was like, it's so interesting, like the spell will work for like who you, because like we've sent messages to Charity before, even though like it's like that's how we know her, but it's actually been Faye. So it's like that's just like a little side thing to me that I'm like, it's an interesting spell.
I do wonder if it's so that like that's her assumed name, like she has taken on that mantle.
Yeah.
I do wonder if it would be like if someone was just using like a code name. I wonder if that would work. Like, I wonder
I
if
guess
it
like it
has to
depends,
be
like,
like
'cause you picture you have to kind of like picture the person as well, because like if you don't know them, it works better if you have a description too, right? So like this is just like a thought experiment for me that's like not really necessary, but I like think about sometimes, because I'm like, you know, like I don't know, in a world like that someone like knows like Pascalis, for instance, but doesn't know the connection with Abe, like if they try to send, I guess like that specific situation doesn't work, but anyways, like if you knew the person, they like had got shunted into a different body, like would the message go through if you like knew that soul? Or if you're picturing their old body, like would it not? You know what I'm saying?
yeah, we need
Anyway.
to find someone to swap our souls around and try this out.
Well, we're kind of like learning a little bit. So anyways, that's just,
Science.
yeah. All right. Wrap things up with, do we want like a silly fun question or a bit more of like a thinker? Not really like a full thinker, but like kind of.
I do
for
want to
silly.
throw a question on as well. That is also
Oh.
fun, I guess. I don't know if you want to do yours first or mine first.
Mine's I've been rewatching Adventuring Party and just stealing stupid questions from there. So mine's genuinely like quite dumb. So you can do yours first if you want.
If yours is dumb, maybe I should end with mine then.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So then either for everyone's, I guess just for yourself or for your character or both, are you wake me up before you go, wake me up inside, or wake me up when September ends?
Ah.
I heard that one recently. I was like, that's so good. I need to know.
Oh my god.
And we go around the circle.
Yeah. I think I'm wake me up when September ends, but now let's wake me up before you go. He's much more fun loving.
It's tough. I feel like Elowyn is like a wake me up when September ends. Or a wake me up inside. Either one of those.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
A bit of both. I don't know. I don't know what I feel. Maybe a go-go. I could be a go-go.
I love that for you.
Said
I
that
think-
with such go-go like
Yeah.
energy.
There you
Maybe. Non-committal go-go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I'm a hard committal go-go, and Drac is either a go-go or a wake me up inside.
Yeah, yeah, I'm like somewhere between like a go-go and a wake me up inside. Like I've got like, you know, the like energy of like, yeah, let's just do things, but also I like screaming panic in my brain all the time.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the Logan energy. And then I think Azaria is like a go-go and September ends. Yeah, I think there's like
I think I'm a go-go as well. Gideon, I think, is sort of similar to Azaria in that he's like sort of a mixture of go-go and September ends. But I think he's a September ends who's trying to be a go-go.
That's like me in real life, I feel like.
I think, yeah, that tracks. Yeah.
Go!
All right, Teni, all your
And what
NPCs,
about
let's
your
go.
DM style?
My DM style is wake me up inside.
Yeah. That seems right.
That was a fun question.
That was fun.
Yeah.
That was
I'm
good.
gonna
Now I
keep
feel
writing them
bad.
down as I. No.
Because now the question I got for you guys is, if money were out of the question, what room would you have installed in the keep?
Oh, this is just the wizard tower conversation.
Well, but I want it from your character's perspective.
Oh.
So okay, it can't be the shrine to Mr. Boom Boom.
Get him out of here.
Okay.
Is this like, because the wizard tower question puts no kind of like
Facial.
like spatial or like kind of like fantastical reigns on it. Is this like it has to be like realistic in the world?
I'm gonna say practical at least, so that you can put in that keep.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
What would your character find on Pinterest to be inspired by?
High ropes course for parkour.
Interesting.
I feel like I already have my perfect room. It's a library.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was
Wow,
thinking. I'm like,
that's
how do
so
I?
sweet.
I'm like, how do I spice the library up? I guess like,
Smut.
add like a secret
Ooh.
library. Wait, what did you say?
Smut.
But
Oh, well,
That's how you
Abe's
spice up the
in the
library.
keep, so we've already like for sure purchased.
We put a quarter
smut.
aside for him.
Yeah.
It's like
Uh-oh.
one of
Abe's
those,
special
like,
quarter.
old video stores where it's like the room with the like
There's some
bead
beads.
insert.
Yeah.
Yeah. Adult only.
Yeah.
Ominous red glow from it.
yeah, why did it have the red glow? Never understood that.
Yeah, I think like maybe like actually what I wanted originally was like if the keep didn't have tours that went through it, I wanted one of like a room that had like windows or something instead of everything being in the basement. So kind of like recreating like my library from home where I have like kind of like a reading nook that like looks out over something. So
I mean, you can cancel the tours as well.
no, we're not there that often. It really makes no sense for me to do that. So it's fine.
I do feel like we've seen a couple cool like wizard studies now, and I'm like, Elowyn could use a cool wizard study. Maybe we need a. I don't know what I think it would be, but we saw like was it underwater, the one in the Olumbite ruins?
Yeah.
Well, there you
Yeah.
go. Yeah. What
Yeah,
you
and
need
then
to
Charity's had a floating body in it, man. I want
That's
a
what
cool
I'm saying,
wizard
like-
study.
That's the fun of being a wizard is like the longer you're a wizard for, like you start getting the point of being like, I could have a kind of fucked up tower where I do weird wizard
Uh-oh.
stuff.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at in our home game. I'm like, if we survive, I mean,
Little fucked up tower, why not?
a little,
Give me
it's
a
time to
little fucking tower.
because once you hit
Gonna-
level 20 as a wizard and like you've like saved the end of the world, it's like it's time for me to do stupid fucking experiments.
Yeah.
Like that's how
But you can become the next
Time to be
big
the
bad evil
most
person.
unhinged character.
I'm
ever.
the problem.
I'm
It's
saying.
me.
Yeah. I mean, that's how Phil ended up in a jar. I mean, that just seems like for sure like
Classic.
a hazard of the trade, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Ooh, I know what Drac would actually want is a sensory deprivation chamber.
oh my god. Yeah,
Just float and be in his head.
Yeah.
that sounds awesome.
Oof.
I think
Ooh, a conservatory. So Skumbalai, that would be
Ooh.
nice. We just
my thought-
recreate Clue. Sorry.
All right. Yeah, my thought would be like turning the library into like a like greenhouse like space, but with like the trees naturally, like all the like shelves are naturally like made like topiaries and stuff. And it's just like books in nature.
Oh,
That's
that'd be so
Azaria's
cool.
giant greenhouse. All the books would eventually become moldy though,
Yeah.
because of like the moisture in the air. Got a lot of magic going on to keep things dry and wet at the same time.
You just like gentle repose all the books.
Yeah.
There you go. That's a wizard thought right
Yeah.
there.
If I could make an area kind of like a hobbit hole, that's what I want in real life too. I would love to do that. So this sounds cozy.
I think Gideon's ideal special room would be like a small tavern of some kind. Yeah.
Well, you wanted to add a
You have a
speakeasy
tavern
in.
already.
That's true.
We have a
Yeah,
tavern?
No,
Yeah.
you were talking about one.
Yeah, like
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
yours seems like the most likely that we could like initiate in the next month is like making that speakeasy. I think that'd be so fun. So
Wait, what am I thinking of, like the room with all the kegs in it?
Behind
yeah,
Yeah, there's a brewery.
there's a brewery, but no, we wanted to turn the prison area into a speakeasy.
Right, yes, that's what it was.
call it the
We're not
brig.
gonna have any prisoners.
The
so
brick?
The
Yeah.
brig.
Oh,
The
the
brig.
brig. Yeah,
I
that's
love
good.
it.
Nice. What I would do is I'd punch a hole through the ground so that that basement could have some light.
Yep.
Yeah. Some kind of light would be nice, but
Make
like,
some windows.
Yeah.
I'm
I
at the
did not
mercy of
understand.
dwarven architecture.
I
yeah.
didn't understand what you meant just now. I was like, you're gonna punch a hole into the basement floor, and there's gonna be a light source further down.
Yeah, Midnight Sun, there it is.
Talking about-
We found it.
We found it, guys. Been here this whole time. All right.
Under our keep.
Oh my god.
Ah,
Cool. Just because I want to have Kumbala's answer for this, I want to outline what the Wizard Tower question is, which is very similar to this, because it's also just a fun thing to do as a conversation starter. But if there was like, if you and your friends buy a Wizard Tower and everyone has their own separate area that covers like the necessities, like bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, whatever, so that stuff's not included, what would your room in the Wizard Tower be? There are no constrictions in terms of like what is truly possible. We have really a crazy retinue of rooms right now. Like mine, I think you can fly a real dragon in it. Like it doesn't, so just putting that out there, because I love to see like once people like understand the prompt, like what they conceptualize. So yeah.
And if you're watching this after the fact, comment below with your
Comment
crazy
below.
Wizard Tower
Hell
room.
Yeah, like what, like if you could have any room in all of your imagination, what would it be? I want to know. So
wow.
A
Anthony
hyperbolic
beating me at
time
the YouTube
chamber.
interactiveness. Interbolic time chamber. Whoa.
Hyperbolic time chamber from Dragon Ball Z.
Oh.
It's
that would be
just a
nice.
room where like time, you can spend days and days in there, and it's like no time at all passes in the real world. I would play so many video games
Same
Yeah.
and
here.
paint so many things and
That would
play so
be-
much D&D.
amazing. My fear is I would go in there and then forget that I have to come out and be a person, and I would go in there for like a century and then be like, oops.
It wouldn't matter.
Yeah, it seems like you don't age in there.
I know,
so.
but like it'd be like the Narnia effect where like I mentally would have been aged, but then I would have been like in my current body and
You're
no
like-
one would have known.
Come back out of the closet, you're like, I'm a kid again. Like,
Yeah.
oh, fuck.
Exactly.
Sounds tough.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I'm gonna wrap things up. So thank you all so much, everyone, for hanging out with us as we discussed episodes 48 and 49 of, I almost said After Party, of Play Dicely.
The Talkback Show for the Talkback Show.
Yeah.
Ooh.
We'll meet you in the speakeasy for the other show that we do after this one. If you have any questions about Play Dicely that you'd like us to answer in future episodes, you can send them to me on Twitter at cbkklo or email them to me at cbkklo@gmail.com. Or you can come join us on Discord and hang out with the community there. It's a fun time. We've got lots of cool things going on there, like neat dice and some, wholesome memes. So come hang out with us. But yeah, that's gonna be all for us this time. But we invite you to join us next time. But hey, wait, what's that? I kept you in suspense for 2.5 hours. This upcoming episode is not going to be on a Sunday like it normally is. It's on a Saturday. May 13th is our next episode of Play Dicely. It's still at 6 p.m., still on Twitch, but it's a really special episode because somehow the stars aligned and our 50th episode has aligned with our 2-year anniversary of this entire freaking campaign. So it's going to be a special one. We might dress up if I can convince everyone to do that. So hey, I'll keep you in suspense for the rest of the week. Come join us on Saturday and see if we get fancy or not. So I look forward to seeing all of you there. But yeah, that's all for us. And thank you so much. Good night and goodbye.
Good night.
Unless it's morning for you, then good morning.
True.
Good morning.
Now let's go raid.
You could be watching this at any point.
Let's go raid our friends over at Careful Cantrip.
Yeah.
Unless you're on YouTube, then you don't get to come along.
Leave you with
Sorry.
squids. Goodbye.
Sorry, YouTube. This is where we leave you. A quick thank you to Tim from Tabletop Audio for the music that you will be hearing in the VOD if you are watching this on our Play Dice YouTube channel.